So the next item is a presentation by Resilient Neighborhoods. Elise?
I wanted to introduce Tamra Peters, who's the director of the Resilient Neighborhoods Group. And as I wrote in the staff report, the town participates in the Marin Climate Energy Partnership. And one of the goals that the Marin Climate Energy Partnership has this year is to try to create at least one resilient neighborhood in each jurisdiction, hopefully more. And so we wanted to take an opportunity to present to the council in hopes that some of our residents might be inspired to form one of these eco groups. And so Ms. Peters will talk more about the program.
Thank you, Elise, and thank you for having me here tonight, Council. I used to be a resident of San Anselmo for 13 years. I was on the Open Space Committee, and also I was realizing as I was driving over that I still have roots here because my husband planted the ginkgo tree in front of Imagination Park for me. So it's rooted here, right? I still have roots here. And I also love being here because we have an all-electric car and I never have to pay for parking. So my name is Tamra Peters, and I'm a volunteer. I created Resilient Neighborhoods 4 years ago because I believe that climate change is the biggest and most important issue of our time, and I wanted to do something about it right here in Marin, where I live. Our motto is less carbon, more community, and we're a project of sustainable Marin. And I lost my remote. Oh, is it right? Oh, yes. Yes, all right. Just need to get turned on. Okay, so I've been, even though I'm doing this program and I'm excited about it, I've been kind of discouraged about it until this past year. And I'm now very hopeful. A lot of things have been going on. The UN climate agreement reached 195 countries, practically all the countries of the world signed on to try to hold temperatures to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. US leadership, Obama committed to reduce our greenhouse gases by 28% by 2025, and then went on to persuade China to set goals, created the Clean Power Plan, and then fuel economy standards for cars. The Pope, people's minds are changing too, with his environmental encyclica, saying climate change is a problem with grave implications, especially for the poor. 60% of Americans now support his call to action. And we all know, we feel it here, studies are confirming that the earliest impacts of climate change have started to sweep across the planet. And then, of course, there's our own Governor Brown and our own state of California, where we may not be a country that can sign things in Paris, but Governor Brown was really doing things. He created what he called the Under 2 MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, and went about organizing 123 subnational jurisdictions around the world, cities, provinces, regional governments, to sign it. Collectively, they represent a gross domestic product of $19.9 trillion, second only to the US, and represent 720 million people. So it's the grassroots, it's people like us that are going to be making the carbon reduction happen. Speaking of us, now, drilling down to where Resilient Neighborhoods works, I love this cartoon. The little car there is called the Blind Spot Express. And of course, they're saying, remember, objects in mirror are closer than they appear. This is us. This is a chart of ecological footprints around the world, and it compares the amount of global acres that would need to be used if everybody in the world lived the normal life, the average lifestyle of a person that lives in that jurisdiction. This compares Marin to countries around the world. You can see even other developed countries where they are. And the green horizontal line is the globally available biological capacity, basically, of the Earth. So it would take 5 Earths if everybody in the world lived like we do here. This was in the newspaper just a couple weeks ago. The Cool California Network, working with some other jurisdictions and agencies, put together a report on the greenhouse gas caused by consumption in the Bay Area counties. Marin came in third, which is not a good thing. And you see the various towns and cities listed there. And there's San Anselmo, kind of towards the middle. And this was based just on consumption. So kind of looking at the big picture, in 2006, California signed Schwarzenegger signed the Global Warming Solutions Act. You all know about that. And part of that act, AB 32, was to ask every municipality in the state to do an inventory of their carbon emissions and then to do a climate action plan about how it was going to, those emissions would be reduced. And San Anselmo has one, as does every jurisdiction in Marin. So when I was doing this, I was really kind of wowed to see that 70% of Marin's emissions come from its residents. I kept thinking maybe government will do it or businesses or whatever. It's us. 45% transportation, 21% home energy use, 2% waste and water. So Marin residents drive more than 7 million miles a year. And that's not even talking about how much we get on airplanes and fly, which is worse. And most of us, we're doing things we just don't even realize. So say when it was cold here and you turned on your furnace in the morning, and what we don't realize is the average home in the US leaks so much air, it's like there's a 2 square foot hole cut in the wall. So you're turning on your heater, and it's like you left the window open upstairs. Another thing, so how many of you took showers this morning or recently? Okay.
So.
Kate, we
Okay.
didn't read that.
I didn't want to single her out.
It came up, but it didn't come up. Okay, you mean.
Okay, so you figure, so you're standing there, you turn the hot water on, right? So you just turn on your gas water heater, right? Carbon emissions, right? So you're sending greenhouse gas emissions up from your gas water heater. But what a lot of people don't realize, the single biggest use of energy in the county is replacing the water that just went down your home. It's moving the water into our homes and then out to the treatment plants. So a second, just from turning on your shower in the morning, a second greenhouse gas went into the air. And it's our consumption. We have wealth, we can buy things here, and that's consumption. So a lot of people say, you know, do I really make a difference? What my household does, what my family doesn't really make a difference. But since we're a big part of the problem here, we can be a big part of the solution, even helping San Anselmo meet its climate action plan objectives. And if you have to look at it kind of like voting. It's Marin cities and towns, if we meet our goals, that means California is going to meet its goals. California is the 8th biggest economy in the world. The world is watching what California does, just like they did when we started the cap and trade program. The world was watching to see if our economy would tank. It didn't. It soared. So we are the grand experiment once again, and each of us plays a part. So how does the program work? The program works with 5 to 8 households forming a team, and I hope some people here tonight will want to sign up for a team. They attend 5 meetings, and we facilitate them all, and each household commits to try to reduce 5,000 pounds of carbon, or 15% from where their starting emissions are, because we acknowledge that some people have done a lot already, and also earning 2,000 points to build community resilience, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So we have fun with this. It's like a Weight Watchers program, except you go on a low carbon diet to lose 5,000 pounds in 60 days. So the first thing every household does is weigh in using a carbon calculator and get your household starting emissions. Then we have 100 different actions that each family can choose from that fits that works for them. And then also earning 2,000 resilience points. We meet about every other week or depending on people's schedules, and then the people take the actions in between the meetings. It's like, you know, you can reduce 350 pounds of carbon by taking a 5-minute or less shower. That's just an example of one of the actions. And at the last part of the program, everybody weighs in again, and we have a big celebration at the last meeting. These are some of the greenhouse gas reducing actions that we have, getting MCE's deep green energy, shifting to electricity rather than gas, going solar, driving and flying less, buying an EV, decreasing energy use, making home improvements, decreasing waste, and using less water. But there's another aspect of the program too. I wanted to have us prepare for adaptation, which is the other part of climate change. And here in Marin, we're expecting a 4 to 5-fold increase in wildfires, of course, sea level rise, more severe storms, and also more severe and longer droughts. So there was a study done of the Chicago heat wave and Sandy and Katrina, some of the climate-related events, and the scientists looked at why did some neighborhoods that were similar to other neighborhoods have a higher survival rate. And they found it was the neighborhoods where people looked out for each other, or where there was a local shop or business that opened its doors to people. That's where people lived. And that's the kind of community and resilience we need to create here. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you're in a meeting in San Francisco and everything starts shaking. Everybody gets under the table and does a duck cover and hold. And the file cabinets come open, the books are coming off the shelves, it keeps shaking, and then it goes quiet, and the power goes off. Somebody turns on a radio and hears that the bridges are all unsafe and it's going to take anybody from Marin up to 3 days to get home. You look at your watch and you see that your daughter's going to be walking home from school. Nobody's going to be home, and she requires a certain medication every single day for her illness that she has. And you know that your next door neighbor's going to be home, has a key to your house, knows about the medication, and will take care of her. That's the neighbor taking care of neighbor that we need to create for this resilience. So these are some of the resilience building actions: preparing for emergencies, supporting local business and agriculture, making more informed purchasing decisions, and knowing and looking out for your neighbors. The reason this program works is because we do it together. Our success so far, we've had 219 Marin households reduce 2.67 million pounds of carbon and build community resiliency. One of the fun things, every team names itself. This is the Peacock Carbon Cutters up at Peacock Gap in San Rafael. You may see some people you know as we go through here. We have teams of neighbors, friends, homeowners associations. These guys they were on a cul-de-sac, Muriel Avenue in Fairfax, and they're the Muriel Motivators. You recognize people? This is a book club team you might recognize. This is in San Anselmo up in the hills. Peter Joseph and Marcy Levine there, you might know them. We have government teams. The city of San Rafael has done 3 teams. This is my favorite team name, Fettuccine Carbonadas. Isn't that great? I love it. And we've had in San Rafael, the city manager, Jim Schutz, he's done a team. A lot of the department heads have done teams. Kate Collin, a councilman, has done a team. We've had 3 council people do teams. This was a particularly excited team. We have faith-based teams. This is the San Anselmo Presbyterian Church team, the Presbyterian Planet Stewards. We have business teams. This is Marin Clean Energy did a team, and they're MCE rights, so they name themselves Marin Carbon Exterminators. And for business teams, the employees do it, but we come in during their lunch hour. So they bring a brown bag, and we do the team every other week with them at their business. And one of the neat things is we get the data from the teams, and we can tell elected officials, we can tell you guys how much carbon the residents of San Anselmo have reduced. And just a couple more team things. That's the Autodesk Carbon None team. And on the right, that's the action team. They made it a little bit longer. And that's Kate Collin of San Rafael City Council on the right. She and her daughter organized that team. Here's where we are so far. You can see San Anselmo, 23 households have done it, which is 55 people, and have reduced 111,000 pounds of carbon. You see where you are versus the other towns and cities so far. So take action now because we're all in this together. Our program is it's fun, it's completely free, and it's rewarding. And this is I love this team picture. Clean Air Revival, they finished their team on Cinco de Mayo, and Rick Bartolicelli, who's back there in the flowered shirt, he brought margaritas. So you can tell everybody's very happy. So anyway, I hope we can get a team going here, and I have a sign-up sheet and I have some flyers if people would like to do it and would be interesting. I can pass those out, or if anybody wants to, is anybody interested or want a flyer? Oh, you signed up out there? Okay, great. Anybody else interested or want a flyer or?
People have questions?
I'd take a flyer.
You bet.
And also for people at home, you can get in touch with us at www.resilientneighborhoods.org and sign up on our website too. It's really a fun program. We have teams going now in Novato, one in Fairfax, where the household has, they have pet rats, so they call themselves a rat pack. And we're starting one in Mill Valley, and we have one in Sausalito actually started at Driver's Market there in a grocery store, which is an interesting story too. So any questions or comments?
I
Yeah.
do have a question. So I see you list emergency preparedness, and you
Yes.
talked about the earthquake. So at different points in time over the last few years, I'm thinking of, for example, the Get Ready Marin effort that came out a few years ago. Can you talk a little bit about coordinate? Is this, are you by design or as an incidental result of this looking to kind of coordinate the effort here, which seemed principally to be devoted to the carbon footprint issue, but are you connecting that with some of the the kind of general emergency preparedness work? Because
Yes.
it'd be great if you could do that, because
Yes.
you don't want to have two different sets of people kind of doing fairly somewhat overlapping things. I mean, you have kind of a sort of a little bit of a different scope, but you've encompassed the other. Can you talk about that a little bit? And are you
Yeah.
coordinating with that?
And
effort?
what I do with the program, everywhere I can, I integrate it with government, like with the water district, we're handing out faucet aerators and low-flow shower heads to the people in the team. With the emergency preparedness, we give people a get-ready booklet. We have a household emergency plan. We work with the emergency preparedness people of the town.
So it's
the
all done
cities.
through the teams.
Yes, we
Okay.
have the households get together, and we're really working at the grassroots. We're building, we're building the people in the neighborhoods that would work into or become the block captain structure, if you know the structure of it. And I've gone through CERT, and I know that too, so I wanted to build it in the program. We have emergency food and supplies. I went out and did some shopping and price comparison so I can give that to the household to make it easier for them to do the program. We talk about flood insurance. We talk about the importance of getting earthquake insurance. We give out the vials of life that the fire department does, because often people don't know about them, and we give them out to team members who may need them and tell them to give them to their neighbors. So we're really acting as a kind of boots on the ground to integrate in with the existing emergency preparedness of the towns and cities. And that was part of my plan to integrate and make everything work well together.
Maybe this is a question for staff, does the town kind of keep track of this for purposes of linking with the things that we're required to do, or grant writing and that kind of thing? So you obviously were quite aware of this, but it strikes me as kind of a public-private partnership activity.
So our climate action plan is mainly directed towards government programs, but
Right.
certainly there might be some opportunity, it might come into play somehow. So We can collect the information just to add into any planning that we might be doing.
One of the things too, our handbook covers, we have a handbook, it covers shopping, waste, water, transportation, emergency preparedness, home energy, and building a climate movement. And in building the climate movement, we encourage people to get involved with government. The woman who came up with the team name Fettuccine Carbonatas, Rebecca Woodbury, she had checked off a pledge in that section when she was doing the program to get involved with her local government, which was Sausalito. She's now heading the Sausalito Sustainability Commission, and she brought me in, so we're working on, we formed a team there. So it's the kind of, we're building people, like here we would want people to go onto the Quality of Life Commission. So, yeah, she did. She's in Exhibit A. Rita did a team, and she's on the Quality of Life Commission. So that's what we're doing. Again, we're trying to build from the grassroots up and fit people in with their town. Once you understand your carbon footprint, and once you understand your own behavior, you become leaders for and models for other people around you in just the way you start living your life and the things that you do. So, and we just did a survey report back to the people who'd done our program over 4 years to ask them, is the behavior you started during the program are you still doing it? Or did you change back as soon as you quit? And 100% said, yep, we're still doing it. We asked them if they took their pledged actions. 2/3 of them said, yes, we did. And then I said, we asked, why didn't you take all of them? And they said, because we forgot. And we're asking them now at the last meeting to write a letter to themselves that we'll mail to them in 6 months saying, do those pledged actions. So we're doing that. And the last thing I was very gratified about, we asked, did you go on and keep doing actions even after you pledged them? Did you see all these things you could have done? Did you keep going? 77% of the people said, yes, we kept going. We had people do Energy Upgrade California. We had people buying energy efficient appliances, doing water saving things. We had 4 people bought electric vehicles and more fuel efficient cars. So it was very, very rewarding to find out the program works and it has long-term behavior change and effects too.
Tom, questions?
No, that sounds great.
Matt, questions?
And as I said, we've had 3 council people go through the program already, so.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Are you working with schools at all?
We did. We did a program with Marin School of Environmental Leadership, and we worked with their freshman class. We did a pilot the first year, and I was kind of, and then we worked with their freshman class. And what we found, we had 30 students go through it, but the nature of this program is it has actions that the parents have to take.
Oh, I see.
They're 14, we said, can't we have the senior class? They're at least driving. But the kids can't reduce their transportation, they can't fly less, they can't buy an energy efficient refrigerator. So it was, they could turn off the water while they're brushing their teeth, but it was really, they learned a lot. I talked to their English teacher who said, in the essays that they wrote every week about what they learned, they say, oh, from resilient neighborhoods, I learned this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. So they learned a lot, but in terms of actually reducing the carbon, and our program's about carbon, they couldn't do it.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
And my second question is Resilient Neighborhoods part of a larger, is it a national organization, or is it just that your own little Tamra Peters
It's me,
thing?
and so, I've been doing it for 4 years, and this year, which is really wonderful, as Elise said, Marin Climate and Energy Partnership, all that group, they all chipped in, so I have a full-time staff person to work with. So, which is really helpful that year. So we're really pushing this year to get the team started and to grow the program more than I could in the past. So it's really exciting opportunity.
Thank you very much. I wonder if there's any public comment that anyone has on this.
Kathy Schaefer, 39 Longview. This is a really fabulous program. It sounds like it's a fabulous program, and it fits nicely with the community rating system kinds of activities. So by working together, there are some of these activities that you might be able to take credit for in the community rating system. So by working together, I think there's some opportunities.
Thank you.
Just very briefly, after taking this program, my husband and I decided to get an all-electric car, and one of the things we've talked at Quality of Life is trying to have more plug-ins so that we can have that kind of support for reducing our carbon emissions by the way we transport ourselves.
Thank you. Gerhard?
I'll be talking about the local hazard mitigation plan in a couple agenda items, and I just want to point out that these two are also very closely related in that sense. The local hazard mitigation plans are aimed at climate adaptation, and the sort of the overarching strategy for that is to pursue resiliency, because it's sort of abstract in an appropriate kind of way, and this is a good kind of strategy that we could be adopting for the town, or recommending.
Just in that regard, when we get to that, there's some specific there's a lot of different specific actions in that hazard mitigation plan that could be accomplished with this. So I would urge that you definitely connect with her. There's some things in here that what she's doing would be those things. So that was kind of the connection I was hoping for.
Should I stick around for that, or
I think you
be in
should.
touch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tamra, could I just ask a personal question? How did you get these groups going? How did they find out about you?
Some people, I'm on Sustainable Marines Board, and my husband's president of Sustainable San Rafael, so I knew some of the green people kind of getting it started with guinea pigs, right?
Yeah.
Starting it. And then it just spreads by word of mouth. We ask every team member to help us start another team or to bring people in, and then it's just kind of, it's organic.
Great.
Originally, we thought we could just go to a neighborhood and they would all organize themselves.
I'll just give a specific example, if I could, of this, because I've jumped ahead to his document again. So in one of your actions in here, it says, encourage the formation of a community and neighborhood-based approach to wildfire education and action through local fire safe councils and the FireWise program. This effort is important because grant funds are currently available to offset costs of specific council-supported projects. So whatever you can do to kind of make what you're doing qualify for that
That'd be
would be
great
good.
to get some
Right.
funding.
That's not the only one, right?
Yeah, okay, great, thank you so much. And again, if you want to come and sign out there, I'll stay around just a couple minutes, but you can get in touch with us through our website, and you have that there. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
For your work.